I was walking down the street with my friend the other day when he looked at me and said, "Man, you look tired." I told him, "That's because I'm not just tired, I'm a walking economy." He laughed and asked, "What do you mean by that?" I said, "Well, my hairline is clearly in a recession. It keeps pulling back and never recovers. My stomach," I continued, "is suffering from serious inflation and keeps expanding without warning. And my bank account?" I said, "Let's just say it's in a permanent state of collapse. All of this combined has put me into a deep depression, especially when I look in the mirror." My friend just shook his head and said, "You don't need a doctor, you need a financial bailout." I told him, "Trust me, if looks were currency, I'd already be bankrupt." I still remember the day my dad stormed into the living room waving the phone bill, like it was evidence in court. He said the bill was insanely high and announced that everyone had to stop using the home telephone. Then he proudly added that he never uses it because he calls from his office phone. My mom nodded and said the same thing, claiming she only uses her work telephone. Feeling smart, I jumped in and said, "I never touched the house phone either since I used my company mobile." For a moment, Dad looked relieved, like the mystery was solved. That's when our maid calmly looked up from cleaning the table. She smiled and said, "So what's the problem?" "Looks like we all use our work telephones. A philosopher, a mathematician, and an idiot were driving together when their car crashed into a tree. The next thing they knew, they were standing at the pearly gates of heaven, where St. Peter and the devil were waiting for them. The devil stepped forward and said, 'Gentlemen, heaven is overcrowded, so we've made a deal. Only those who can ask me a question I can't answer will be allowed in if I can answer your question. You're coming with me to hell.' The philosopher went first. He crossed his arms and said, 'All right, tell me everything there is to know about Socrates' philosophy.' With a snap of his fingers, the devil summoned a massive stack of papers. The philosopher skimmed through them and sighed. Every word was correct, the devil smirked. "To hell you go with another snap." The philosopher vanished next. The mathematician stepped up. "Fine, give me the most complex mathematical equation ever conceived." Once again, the devil snapped his fingers, and another huge stack of papers appeared. The mathematician studied them and with a defeated sigh, nodded it was flawless. The devil grinned, "Enjoy hell, snap." The mathematician was gone. Finally, the idiot stepped forward. He looked around and said, "Bring me a chair." The devil, confused but amused, conjured up a chair. "Now drill 7 holes in the seat." The devil shrugged and did as he was told. The idiot sat down, let out a loud fart, then stood up and asked, "All right, which hole did my fart come out of?" The devil examined the chair carefully before confidently saying, "The 3rd hole from the right." The idiot burst out laughing. "Wrong, it came out of my asshole, ha ha ha." A man walks into a crowded bar, carrying a live crocodile under his arm. The room goes silent as everyone stares at him in shock. The bartender, clearly nervous, shouts, "Hey, you can't bring that thing in here." "It's dangerous," the man grins and confidently replies, "Relax, it's perfectly safe, I'll prove it." He grabs a stick and taps the crocodile on the head. The crocodile immediately opens its jaws wide, revealing its sharp teeth. The crowd gasps in horror. The man then drops his trousers in front of everyone, places his private parts inside the crocodile's open mouth, and stands there confidently. The crowd watches in stunned silence. The man takes the stick and whacks the crocodile on the head. The crocodile immediately snaps its jaws shut, but stops just short of biting the man. The man turns to the crowd and says with a smirk, "See, perfectly safe. Anyone here brave enough to give it a try?" The bar goes silent for a moment, until a little old woman in the back raises her hand and says, "I'll give it a try, but don't hit me on the head as hard as you did to the crocodile. I'm a poultry farmer. I had 30 hens and one very tired old rooster clearly needed help. So I bought a brand new, young rooster full of energy to boost production and impress the hens." The old rooster calmly walked up to him and said, "The kid wants some help managing all these ladies?" The new rooster laughed and said, "Are you kidding me? I'm young, fast, and I can handle all of them alone." The old rooster smiled and challenged him to a 50-meter race. "If I win, you share the hens with me." The young rooster agreed and even let the old guy start, 10 meters ahead out of respect. The next day, the race started, and the young rooster chased the old one like his pride depended on it. Just as the young rooster was about to catch him, I panicked and shot him, thinking something suspicious was going on. I shook my head and said, "Oh no. This is the 5th gay rooster I've bought this week." My mom died when we couldn't remember her blood type. As she died, she kept telling us to be positive, be positive. But it's hard without her. For more funny stories, like and subscribe to Happy Life.